Hello to all lovers of creativity. Today, I want to talk about this cap. This cap is actually created in the concept of bonnet, but actually, you can use it as bonnet and you can use it as cap for dressing. So, let's just get into the business of the day. I'll be using Ankara. I actually wanted to use very beautiful Ankara, but I was not able to lay my hands on it. So I chose to use this particular one. I'll be using Ankara and scuba. The scuba will be acting as the elastic in front of the Ankara, and then it's a big band. So 4.5 is what I'll be doing. 4.5 is what I'll be doing. So it means that 9 inches and then on a fold 4.5. So I'll just cut out this particular stripe. In this sewing, I will show you two methods you can use to sew the band. Okay, so of course it's your choice. Whichever method you use is perfect, but I'll be explaining at least two different methods that you can use to sew the band, and that is why I cut out two band, because we are going to be explaining at least two methods of sewing it. Then I will cut out the circle. All right, so just fold my 1 yard of Ankara into two and make sure that it's well seated, that is every part is equal with the opposite side, and then fold it again. So I folded into four. So when I fold into four, you will see that there is an edge that looks like a rectangle. From that edge is where I'll be taking my measurement. All right, so the actual measurement I used is 14. That is my radius is 14 inches. But if you want to do to the end of the fabric like this, you can do that. That's why I'm showing you from the beginning to the end of the fabric is 17 inches. But for the size that I used, um that particular size I used is 14. If you use this 17, it's quite big. So if you are really looking for oversize, all right, you can do what I am doing now. But if you are not looking for oversize, you just want it to be moderate size, like the one you see me, the one you see on my dummy head, then 14 inches as your radius is perfect for the circle. So we are done. We cut out the circle. There's something that is important again, and that's the fact that remember that Ankara fabric is like a cotton, so it has the ability to soak off your the dry your hair, remove moisture from your hair. So what we do is that we base it with satin. So we use a satin fabric to base. Okay, that part wasn't sufficient, so I was going to cut and fill it up. Then we use a satin to cover it all round and sew. After we sew it round, we leave an opening that will allow us to turn it out. Okay, so let's go to the sewing machine and see what we are supposed to do. So the two ways to close the band is what we'll first of all talk about. The very first method is just to fold your band into two equal parts and then take your head circumference of maybe 11 inches or 10.5 inches. So with that one, we don't really have much to do. All you need to do is just run through it, cut it out, take off the excess part, take it to your interlock machine, and then you just interlock it and you are done. But what will happen is that the edge of this particular one where you sew will not be too neat. All right, it will not be too neat. Okay, there is another method you will use that is going to be neater than this particular method. That's why I said I showed two methods, but you just choose the one that you know is perfect for you. All right, so let's see how this one look. You see the edge is not smooth, but the second method is like this. Just open up the 9 inches width. All right, take your head circumference of 11 inches or 10.5 inches, sew it all right, straight, and then you cut it off. And when you cut off, you can weave, as in use your interlock to interlock it, all right, take off the excess part of it, and then we'll flip it equally. So we turn it up like a turn up, like this. So in this part now, this method, all the part that was sewn is hidden. You see, it's smoother, it's neater. You can't compare it to the first method where you have to be seeing the edge showing like this. Huh? So both sides are neat. So let's go to how to work on the circular Ankara. So we start by sewing the satin to it, because the satin is not going to be able to soak off the moisture or whatever from your hair. Okay, so the satin will help. So we use right side to face right side, and then we sew it round completely. When you sew it round, you are going to leave a little part of it open that will allow you to turn out the right side. Remember, right now is the back that we are seeing. So after you turn it out and the material is ready, you just use your needle and thread to create loose stitches. Loose stitches that will allow you pull this material together and form the cap even without sewing. You see that the circle is gathered, the depth of the cap is already well defined. All right, so we go ahead now and then place the band on it, and this is how I will place it. That is, I will wear it into the Ankara like this. All right, wear it. Okay, so the edge should be facing up, so that when you sew these two edges together like this, there are other methods you can use, but I don't want to go through that. Okay, so that you will not need to weave the edge, but let's not go through that, please. So we just go like this and then we sew. There is something very important I need to explain about the sewing. All right, so I will really need that you pay attention to what I want to do. Now remember that this band is 10.5, which will give you 21 inches. All right, and it is expected that it will be stretchy. So your cap, this Ankara that you pull together now, remember, it's not stretchy. So you have to make sure that the cap is above 21 inches. The cap should get to at least 24 or 25 inches. Don't worry about the fact that the band is 21. Remember, the band is like an elastic. So you begin to pull it, drag it to meet with the length of the Ankara. So you pull it. You see what I just did? So let me say you want to sew a distance of 5 inches of the Ankara. All right, your scuba, the length of scuba you will take will be like 3 inches. That 3 inches, because it's elastic, when you pull it, it will cover the 5 inches, and then you sew. I know why I am explaining this part like this. If you don't do it like this, you will finish sewing this cap and find out that it cannot fit into the head, and you will not want that to happen. Only the band will be able to enter your head, especially when you are carrying hair. You will find out that it cannot be stretched, it cannot open up to be able to expand for it to sit on your head if you are not doing what I'm explaining now. I said if you want to cover the distance of 5 inches of your Ankara, the elastic that you will be using will be like 3 inches. Then when you pull it as you are sewing, it will be able to cover the 5 inches. With that, it's going to tuck the remaining 2 inches inward. All right, so if you make your cap 25 and then of course your band is 21, you have like extra 4 inches to play with, and that 4 inches will allow for your cap to be able to expand and fit into your head or the head of your client. Okay, so this is just how we sew. You gather the cap and cover your distance. When I'm done sewing, the next thing I will do is that I'll take it to my interlock machine and then I will weave so that it can be very neat. So just keep watching.